let's actually first look at this tool right here, which is the quick selection tool. Using this, I'm on the plus right now. I can quickly select my shape. Photoshop is going to detect the edges and I can quickly select a shape. And we can also do a separate selection right here. So these are not connected. They're two separate selections. If I hit Ctrl J, let's turn this off. I've only made selections of the two parts that I chose. Let's bring that back, delete that layer. And similarly, we have the new selection. So I can just make a random selection and it will only go on the whatever it's in that layer. So if I turn the white thing off, you can see that we only have this cloud. So if I make a selection here, nothing's going to happen. It should only be within the shape that I have. So right now everything is selected, including the cross, except for the heart. So if I want to include the heart, I would use the add to selection and just draw in. And now everything in my layer is selected. Now let's say I don't want the cross to be selected. I would go on the minus and then select the minus, kind of guide Photoshop and tell it exactly where my minus is. I'm going to fill the sides and then let go. You can see that I made a somewhat clean selection. You hold shift to switch to plus and just try to clean the edges a bit. Oops, I made it worse. Okay, we're almost there. It's a somewhat clean selection. Now if we zoom in, we can see that we did miss this. A way to clean those edges up is by first being on the layer that you're using. And then, remember how we said that the colors black and white are going to be used for making selections. So if I go on my brush with the black, you can see that I'm removing the selection. If I go with white, I'm adding the selection. And I don't know if you guys can see the difference in this orange and this orange. So whatever is red is not in that selection. Whatever isn't red is in that selection. So let me undo what I did. Right now everything is, we want to remove the cross, so it's red. But down here we kind of came out of shape. So I'm going to reduce the size of my brush and go with the color white because we want this blue area to be there. And I'm just going to paint until necessary. Then I believe we had some parts here. Actually, we didn't. Okay, so I made a clean selection of my cross. I'm going to hit Q again and I'm back to my selection. Well, now I can see that this area was there too, so I'm going to zoom in. Now I can see it better. Just use white again. Sorry, use black because we didn't want the cross to be in there. And just paint over that area. Hit Q again. And there we are. There's also some areas here, but we're just going to forget that for now. And if I hit Ctrl J, I have made a selection of everything except for my cross. I turned off the first layer. This is with the layer turned on. Let's delete that. And then similar to the first tools, we have more options on our quick selection tool. We have a object selection tool. Let's go in here. And this is a mode rectangle. So if I click this once, it's going to take some time for it to detect the shapes. And it found the shapes, it detected it, and it just makes a quick selection like we did. But I can just draw a rectangle and it will detect the heart and the cross for me. And then another thing that I forgot to mention, let's go back to the quick selection tool, is that we have this option for select subject. Now it's not going to be that helpful in our situation, but let's say there was an image where it's a desert and there's a red car right in the middle. So if I just go ahead and hit the select subject, Photoshop is going to automatically select that red car for me. On its own, we'll just need to maybe clean the edges a bit, but this is what the select subject is used for. It's not going to be this helpful here, but in the future lessons, we're going to see it in action. And it's a really helpful tool, actually. Another thing is that you can change the size of your brush, the hardness, the spacing of how much you're selecting. If it's a fine, small area, you would want a smaller brush. Right now it's 6 pixels, which is small. If it's a big area, you can increase the size. And that's just how the logic works. We also have some sample, enhance edge. We're not going to get into these right now. Right click on the tool. We talked about the object selection, similar to the Lasso tool where we had new selection, add to selection, subtract from selection, and intersect with selection. We have the exact same thing. We have the same select subject option, the selected mask for more refined selection. Now let's get into the last tool, which is the magic wand tool. Now this is interesting. Let me hit Ctrl D to deselect my first selection. I'm going to click on the heart once and it will magically find the shape for me. Let's do it again on the cross, and now it chose the cross. Because we're on the new selection, it can only do one at a time. But if I'm on the add to selection, you can see there's a plus next to our wand. Hit once on the heart, and now we have one selection consisting of different parts that are not connected. We have a subtract thing. If I hit this once, the heart is no longer there. And if we have intersect, I would have to... This wouldn't be that helpful in this scenario because the shapes are separate. But you get the idea. Let's maybe try it with this. Add to selection. Intersect. Okay, so now everything is deselected except for the area that we chose. There's an X next to our wand. So these were the ways that you can select subjects or objects, whatever is in your image or illustration, using Photoshop. We learned one way to add to use this selection tools, which was to create a new layer. We'll do it again. We have our heart selected. Hold Ctrl, hit J once, turn layer 1 off. Now we have a selection of the heart. Now let's say I want to use these selection tools to make a mask. So I'll go in my heart, make a selection. I'm using the Lasso tool, but you guys can use whatever preferred tool. I made my heart. And now with this selected, I'm going to come down here and hit this circle surrounded by a rectangle. You can see it says add layer mask. So now everything is removed except for my selection. You can see that everything is black except for that white area. Like we talked about, white is visible, black is not visible. Now let's say I want everything to be visible except for my selection. I can just easily hold Ctrl, be on this layer, not on this, be on the mask layer. Hold Ctrl and hit I to invert. And now everything's there except for my selection. You can see the mask is white except for that little black area in there. So that's another way to use selections. And we'll actually be using it quite a lot in further lessons. If I didn't want my mask layer, I can just go on it, right click, hit delete layer mask. And it's gone. We have our heart shape back. So this was it for the selections for Photoshop. They're basically consists of these following tools, 3 tools that have even more versions inside if you right click on them. And yeah, that's about it for making selections in Photoshop. I'll see you guys in the next lesson.